We've had masterclass in leadership, in confidence, in focus. We're moving now into friendship. And I want to share with you this. If we're all going to get better, sometimes we have to change. We have to become more. We have to make sure that self-improvement is a way of life. We have to connect and do work like this. We have to be in communities like this that really are striving to improve ourselves and improve our relationships. Because if we improve ourselves and we improve our relationships together, we can change the world. I'm going to describe to you these 6 deliberate habits of creating friendships from a perspective that will describe why some of your friendships were built the way that they were, why they worked. So I would love for you to think about, is we're going to go into this activity. Can you think about one friend who's like your best friend? Or maybe 1 or 2 friends? Like the people you think like, that's the closest one. If you don't feel like you have that one based on our conversations so far, that's okay too, okay? Really, because I'm not being facetious. Around the world, a lot of people don't believe they even have 3 good, close friends. So it's okay. I'm gonna introduce some ideas here that might help you understand how they're shaped. Whether they're assigned friends, deliberate friends, something you're gonna build into at home, at work, in your community, these will help. Okay, I'm gonna work through these from a neuroscience perspective and then come back from a high performance perspective where we teach you the habit. So let me just explain them first. Let's explain great friendships and where the bonding happens, and then we'll come back and make a plan. So first thing that the mind loves, the brain loves, and when we have these things that happen in our lives, the brain loves it, hits dopamine, and whatever is in our world at that moment, an association happens. Instantly and immediately, that's positive, okay? One of the first and foremost, most important things in our life is something I'm gonna start with on this lesson today because a lot of us lacked it during the pandemic. And that is what creates an immediate bond with somebody and deepens relationships and makes friendships or your intimate relationships come back to life is novelty. Novelty. That's the first thing I want to talk about today. Novelty. Doing new things with people. No duh, Brendon, earth-shattering. But actually, when you read any book on neuroscience, you see that novelty is always something that is so incredibly stressed that we need to create in our lives to keep things fresh. Because when they go stale, they die. To keep them fresh is how we grow them. So I bring in this one. I like to begin this one because listen, as the world opens up, whether you feel like you can move on or you can't, or as we feel like we're venturing out into the world again, because some people have been locked down, I want to reference to you the importance of immediately thinking of any friends you have who you need to reconnect with, and you need to create a new experience with them. So write this down, create new experience. I want you to go through your top 10 friend list or the top 5 people you like at work who you do want to develop a relationship with. How do you create a new experience with them? What's something new that you can do? Whether that is, hey, let's go out to a new restaurant together. You know how magic that can be in a relationship when you go out with your partner, your spouse, your intimate other, someone, you go to a new place. It's higher energy. It's a different level of awareness. When people are in novelty or novelty situations, their self-awareness goes up, their mindfulness goes up. Biologically, we are literally built to be more attentive in new situations. And so if you actually think about some of your best friends, there was probably some new situations you went out and did. Maybe your best friends came from when you were a teenager or in your 20s. Well, you're experiencing life anew. There was a lot of change, right? There was some of your first time experiences doing this, going out, your new friends of adventure, your new friends, your new drinking buddies, your new friends at school, those new years, everything that was new, there was a vibrancy and there was a pop there. And I really believe a lot of people right now in their life, they feel like they're slogging through. We need to introduce novelty. What is something new? What's a new experience you could create? Now, let's talk about how do you take that to high performance level. You schedule the newness. See, some people never have any novelty with their friends in 5 years. And they're like, I don't know, I don't feel connected. I'm like, you ain't done nothing new in 10 years together. That's why the friendship is dying. You want to do something new on a regular basis. So I highly recommend, some of the closest friendship networks I've ever seen are groups of people who do a trip, a camping trip, a hiking trip, a biking trip. They're outdoors. They go do something once or twice a year. They get together for July 4th. They get together for New Year's. But there's a recurrence of them getting together, but they do something new each time. Those are some of the great, deep relationships. Now, I know some people go, but no, Brendon, my best friends, we just get together and we talk. We don't care if it's new or anything. I'm like, I bet you're talking about new things as you age. There's a novelty in conversation. When you have friends who you don't do anything new together, and most importantly, you don't talk about anything new together, that friendship doesn't deepen. So I learned that and I thought, oh, you know what I'm gonna be? I'm gonna be that guy that introduces new topics to my friends and asks them to talk about it. I introduce novelty in my communication pattern with friends just to see where it goes. Instead of talking about what's the weather today, I'll ask about something specific. I'll share, hey, I've been learning about this. What do you know about this? Or, hey, you know what? I've been hearing about that. Have you ever thought about that? Or I'll bring up a topic at a friend, there's like 4 or 5 people and they're all talking about the salsa and the guacamole. And I'll be like, wow, what's the next level of conversation here? What's something new we could talk about that we haven't talked about as friends? And I'll literally, if we ever hung out, we'll sit at a table and you'll hear me say, hey guys, I noticed we've never talked about X. And I'll just throw it out. I'm like, what do you guys think about that? And I'll just throw out a topic. I'll be like, hey guys, I noticed, you're all parents here. I've never heard, what's 3 things to be a great parent? And I'll get the conversation going. I'll think, what have we not talked about before? And I'll just throw it in the mix, right? It's just like a communication hand grenade. I'm just gonna throw it in there and see where we go. I know this is so simple, but do you do that? Do you do that consistently? Are you scheduling time with friends to do new things? Do you ask them to bring new people into your mix? Most people live like this, no new people. And I'm like, new people, come on in. I'm just like it. And it's not because I'm an extrovert. It's because I wanted the quality of life where novelty was at play. My brain is always sparking. I get diversity of thought, meeting new people. I'm put in new situations, so I have to adapt and gain more self-awareness and social acuity. Putting myself in novel situations by inviting new people, going to new networking events, going to conferences. Now, I know this is where I lose everybody else, but you don't understand, Brendon, I'm an introvert. Yes, amazingly, after 20 years in personal development, I've actually met some introverts. On the Myers-Briggs, I'm right down the line between introvert and extrovert. You can't write 6 books without being a little bit of an introvert. So it's not, if you are blaming your style here, this is where we have to talk about personal development. When people only do their style and don't reach for the lifestyle and the goals they want, they begin to suffer. Well, I'm not like that. I know, but what you are probably like is going to be stuck. And sometimes, to experience a more extraordinary quality of life, we have to go beyond our own styles and our own strengths and put ourselves in novel situations that challenge us to learn and grow and interact. We got so used to, as a culture, especially in the Western, well, these are my strengths and this is my style, that we use those as justifications not to try new things. And that's why many people, when they have a new goal or a new dream, sabotage themselves. Well, I'm not like that. As you know, I want to be a writer. And I noticed the best-selling authors, they were going on media and doing appearances and they had videos and things like that. And I didn't like this. Like talking to a camera like this, insanely uncomfortable for me. Crazy. I had to learn to do it. I didn't go, well, I'm not like those writers that can talk in the media. I'm like, you know what? That's not a skill yet. I'm gonna get good at that. I'm gonna put myself in that situation. It'll be new, it'll be challenging, and I'm gonna have to rise up and learn how to do that. I didn't say, I'm like this kid that can't do these things. I said, do I want to experience that? Then let me become more. Let me grow into that. I was very uncomfortable with people when I was younger, and so I had to put myself in situations that stretched me. Now, if you are introverted, like I was especially back then, you do those things, and then what do? You take time to recover. You can go out in the world and then come home and live inside and recover and then go out again when you're ready. That was me. I had I'm a guy, if I go to a party, I'm exhausted afterwards. Because at that party, I'm just like, I'm vibing, I'm trying, And then when I get home, I'm tired, I'm wiped out. But it doesn't mean I never do it, because it's not my style. So it's important for yourself. Right now, I really believe, some of you guys know I did a course with Oprah Winfrey Network, and Oprah named the course because we were talking about what we were going to do. And she named the course, it was called Reignite Your Life. If you are in a place and you want to reignite your life right now, write in all capital letters, novelty. And don't hope novelty lands on you. Schedule it. Go do it. Invite it in. And I promise things will get better. Second thing that creates bonds of friendship that most people underestimate is creative expression. Creative expression. It means with another person, you creatively do something. So that creatively doing something, that could be, this is your art class friends. That creative expression, that can be your brainstorming friends. You might have that friend at work who you love to whiteboard with, right? That person you like to just brainstorm business ideas with. That creative expression of maybe that's dance for you. That creative expression, maybe that's another artistic type of endeavor where your interests are aligned and you're gonna go do that. But creativity, doing something where we have to generate ideas or artifacts, as they call it in sociology, together. I mean, we gotta create stuff. Let's create something here. Your friends should be your greatest vehicle for brainstorming. Let me tell you how to have greater friends. And I really genuinely want you guys to write this down. I want you to learn to do this. Pick up the phone, call a friend and say this. And here, I can tell you the quality of your friendships right now based on this statement, believe it or not. Pick up the phone, call a friend and say, hey, can I get 5 minutes? I just want to brainstorm something with you. I just want to brainstorm something with you. I can determine the quality of your friendships with that statement. When you're in friendships, and it's not what we call a generative friendship. A generative friendship means we generate ideas together. It doesn't mean they need to be the expert. It doesn't mean they need to be perfect. It doesn't even mean they need to get the topic. Friends talk things through with each other. We're in a culture in the Western world where what we do is we complain together. But that's not generative. That's actually it's not additive, right? So complaining together, I learned that from Zig Ziglar, to listen to your friends and what's the tone? What are we talking about here? And if you're around a bunch of complainers and blamers all day long, you become that. And I was like, dang, that's real. So I want you to write this phrase down. Hey, can I brainstorm something with you? I want you to hear about this because I do consider myself someone who has deep, awesome, incredible relationships, and I feel very blessed about this. I do this all the time. I probably have, I'm not kidding you, I probably have 15 of those conversations a week. 15 a week. And you're like, how can you possibly do that? Well, I have friends who are like my buddies. I have friends at work. I have friends who I would consider coworkers, people on my team. I have friends in my industry. And I force myself throughout the week, when I have an idea, when I have a goal, when I have a concern, and write those down. When I have an idea, when I have a goal, when I have a concern, I don't let those things live in my little head. Instead, to create relationships with others, I call and I say, hey, can I brainstorm on something with you? Sure, what's up? Well, I've got this concern right now. Or, you know what? I've got this idea. I just want to bounce it off. Or I've got this goal. I'm wondering if you've ever seen that, or you've done it, or you know someone who has. I just want to share it. Idea, goal, concern. These are part of the parlance of a great friendship. And you think about it, a lot of us don't have that. Now, I know some of you can be like, but I have a great friend and we don't do that. I'm like, oh, my job isn't here to tell you that you can't have great friends. I have great friends who are like my pina colada friends. I don't know how many ideas we actually brainstorm with. Half the time, I don't think there's an idea in our head when we're drinking a pina colada. So listen, I'm not here to say every relationship has to be perfect. Maybe you're my pina colada friend. We have a great time. We probably don't generate about how to solve the climate crisis, okay? We're not that deep. But if I want to deepen that relationship, guess what I do? You got 5 minutes to brainstorm on something? So remember, I'm not here to say what friendships are or have to be. My job as your coach is to say, well, how do we deepen them? And to deepen it, you're going to generate more ideas, you're going to share more goals, and express more concerns. That's what makes you actually an authentic person, an authentic striver. I don't know you if I don't know your ideas, your goals, or your concerns, do I? I don't know you. I can make up a persona of you, but I don't know you. If I don't know what you're thinking about consistently, or you're worried about, or what you're planning, I don't know you. I really don't. I just know you went to this high school, and you wear that cool dress, and you talk about this. I don't know you. So if we want to go deeper, which is my job today, how do you have remarkable, long-lasting, deep relationships? I gotta know it. So for you, I want you to write down ideas, goals, and concerns. Third big way to deepen relationships, which I prefaced a little bit earlier, is contribution. Great friends contribute something together. Your best friends at work weren't just the party people often. It was like you felt like you were doing something together that made a difference. Contribution is we serve together. We make impact together. This is why I always begin every conversation in meeting new friends with getting out and volunteering, right? Just like when you volunteer with other people, it just, your spirits are aligned, you're making a difference, it's just unique, you're making an impact. That make a difference thing together, I'd love for you to go down all your casual relationships and go, how can I make a difference with her? How could he and I, or this group, make some kind of impact? Maybe we go build a school. Maybe we go paint a playground. Maybe we go serve at a soup kitchen. Maybe we go, build this thing or weave this thing or get that thing done or raise this money together. Whatever it is, let's go do something together of impact is a question. I remember I was in my early 30s and I saw this team, they called themselves. It was like, 5 people. It's like 2 guys, 3 gals. And every year they went away for Habitat for Humanity and they built a house somewhere. Every year they just did that. And I was like, that's amazing. You guys are so close and everything else. And we're talking. And to me, it was like, oh, this is a team of 5. And then it turned out every year, each of them made sure to bring 2 friends. And now this group was 300 people. 300 people. Started out with literally 5. They became 300 people who went every year. These 300 people went and mixed up and they would go around and build stuff together. I was like, that's incredible, right? I don't know about you, but some of my best friends came from service, contribution, building, doing things together that made an impact. Like in my industry, some of my best friends in the industry, like we collaborate to do something, to build something, to create something, makes a difference, right? That just feels amazing to me. I love that. I really do love that. What else? Well, I think for those of you who are really struggling to like meet high quality people from your perspective, I can't recommend enough that you get involved with some local organizations that are nonprofit based and that you start attending more fundraisers, more acts of service. And I know some of you go, I don't have anything, I don't have money to contribute maybe, or I don't have, I don't know what I want to do. I'm like, I don't care. Go to a bunch of them and you'll learn what you like. And I will also say this, I know I've been saying this for years, I beat a dead drum a little bit here, but when you go to a fundraiser or you go to a volunteer event, do you know who goes to those? Like you go to a black tie event, like a fundraiser as an example. Do you know who goes there? The most successful, high-achieving, positive, wealthy, influential people in that particular community. People who have something to give, and in their spirit, in their heart says, I play this role in this community where I'm gonna make a difference here. Awesome. I mean, some of my best friends I've met throughout the years, I met either doing the work of contribution or literally on a nonprofit board or at a fundraiser. Because that striving community who wants to make a difference, I can't share with that. But here's the thing, whether you go do that or you don't, the people who are closest to you, if you want to make a difference with them, if you want to deepen that relationship, find a way to make a difference together. Go do something cool that contributes. Go volunteer. I think if you really want the closest friendships imaginable, you go volunteer once a month or once a quarter. You don't wait for it, you schedule it. I want you to be the friend that schedules the contribution. Be that friend. Don't hope that person comes into your life. You're that scheduler. You're that person who sets that up. You're the person that gets them together. Because at some point, they'll take it over. In all of my greatest friendship circles, I tend to be the person who initiates it, and we do something, and then someone says, I'll do it next time. I'm like, great. Just do that. Acts of contribution together. So novelty, creative expression, contribution. Number 4, adventure or risk. Adventure or risk. Adventure can be, that's your buddy you're gonna go out and you're gonna have some grand adventure with. That's your road trip across the country. That's your zip lining. That's your skydiving crew, right? Where there's an adventure and there's an element of risk together. You're like, oh my God, did we really just rappel down that mountain? Did we really just rock climb that thing? Did we really just start that business together? Did we really go on this journey together? That adventure, when you start that and do that adventure with somebody, that's a bond. That's a real bond. A lot of people go, I don't feel aliveness in our life. I'm like, schedule an adventure. Go do something together. Whatever that adventure is, that adventure can be a simple quest. I have 2 friends who I really admire who were living in like a mid-sized town, like a Madison type, I think it was Madison, Wisconsin, these guys lived. And they just said, we're going to, in 1 year, we're going to go to as many restaurants in this town as we can together. That was their quest. That was their adventure together. There was novelty, there was adventure, that was all cool, but then the risk element that they added to it, is like, they were like, we're gonna document this together. And so they're like, we're gonna try to do something, build a business from it. We're gonna document this, we're gonna go to all these restaurants, we're gonna film it, we're gonna try to do an entrepreneurial endeavor with it together. It's like, wow, that's cool. That's cool. But you know what? I think of my friends who I went skydiving with, they're still some of my best friends in the world today. Because that was crazy. That was terrifying. Have you ever heard my skydiving story? I'm screaming like a child, all the way down. Like, it was so fun. You think about those friends you had adventures with early on in your life. I had one friend who I moved from like an old friend to a growth friend because I remembered, that was my mountain biking friend when I was in middle school. Wow, no wonder we were so close in middle school because we would go down these trails. Did you ever have a biking friend? Many people had a biking friend. You would go down these like crazy trails together, but you just never kept in contact. And you had that there was a time in your life when you were young and they were your adventurous friend and you lost touch. That's okay if you lost touch, but take the lesson. Oh, we did stuff together. We had adventures together. Okay, got it. Fifth thing, an alignment around your passions. An alignment around your passions. Whatever those, if your passions are crocheting, great. And you got, or wait, it's crocheting. So you got friends, I think crocheting's the game. I'm not sure, maybe it is. But it's like, if you got croquet friends or crochet friends, then it's like, do that together. You got your bird watching friends, go watch the birds. You got your friends who you talk about history with, talk with them about history, about your coffee, whatever. Like whatever your passion is. Here's my question to people all the time, and it stuns them. I go, how often does your passion show up in a group setting every week? How often does your passion show up in a group setting every week? Well, if it's not, that explains why the bonds of the groups that you're around aren't that deep yet. You have to both inject your passion into conversations so people actually know what you think about, what you're interested in, what you're deeply thoughtful about. Like all of your friends, and I want you to write this down, all of my friends should know my passions. All of them. Otherwise, they're strangers. All your friends. I'm a person, like, if you know me, you're gonna know my passions real fast. And people say, yeah, but I can't tell my family this, they think that, or I can't tell her that, they think that. I'm like, what are we, in high school? Are you really holding back your passions based on what someone else will think? That's okay in high school. Once you hit 18, that's no longer allowed. Now that's just called sabotaging yourself for no reason whatsoever other than your internal fears of embarrassment, which, by the way, shouldn't last that long after 18 years old. Not when you're doing the personal development work. Like, get over that. It's okay. Everyone should know. And if they have judgment to it, guess what? They also judged your clothes today. They also judged your hair today. They judged your website. Who cares? Why is everyone so scared about judgment? The less you are worried about judgment, the greater friends you have. When you realize because you know what? I want people to reject me. Because if I'm not in their tribe or I'm not their guy, great. I don't have to spend a bunch of stupid time. I love being selected out. I love when someone says, you're not my kind of person. I'm like, thank God, I don't have to spend time with someone who doesn't want to hang out with me. Everyone's so scared of rejection. I'm like, if someone rejects you, they just gave you the greatest gift. Time. Not to have to spend with someone who don't like you. That's why I love rejection. I'm like, rejection's awesome. It gives me the reason that I don't have to hang out with that person. Oh, they judge me unfairly? I don't get mad at them. I'm like, thank God they did that. I don't have to go spend a bunch of time trying to build a relationship with somebody who's like that. So don't fear the judgment. And don't keep pressing down, suppressing, or quieting your passions to try to fit in, to try to be liked. Share what you love. Share your passions. And if you're someone who's like, but I don't have any passions, I don't have any friends, it's like, okay, well, your job is to go have adventures in the world and put yourself in new, novel situations to discern what you like. I'm sure many of you guys, you get the questions too from, younger kids in their, teens or in their 20s who ask you, but I don't know what my passions are. And what do you always say? Go do stuff. Like passions and interests emerge out of actions, not contemplations. So you don't just sit around and contemplate, what am I passionate about, and come up with something. You need to experience the menu of the world a little bit and go, oh, I like this. Just like I never knew I liked sushi. I never sat in a room one day in Montana and go, I like sushi. No, I had to go experience culinary from all over the place. And I went to a sushi place. I'm like, I'm a guy that likes sushi. And now if you hang out with me, I'm like, let's go. I'm passionate about sushi. I never thought in a room I'd be passionate about sushi one day. I had it and became passionate about it. You find your passions by living an active life. When you don't have passions, we just got to get more menu in front of you. This is why you always growing your network and your relationships to discern. Like a lot of people hope their purpose just lands on them. I'm like, your purpose is found out in the world. Your purpose is found by living. and choosing how you want to live and living a purposeful life, and more purpose shows up. If you want deep relationships with people, you're going to have to uncover your passions. You're going to have to express those passions. And you're going to have to elicit their passions. Does anyone have a friend who talks on and on and on about something that you aren't passionate about at all? Anyone out there? Encourage them. Keep listening. Don't we all need friends like that? It's important. It's important for you to elicit other people's passions, and it's okay if there isn't. I have one friend that is so passionate, insane, like otherworldly passionate about video games. Now, I haven't played a video game in, I don't know even know how to use the controllers. Anyone else have that? You ever go to your friend's house and their kids pop out the video game, they hand it to you, and you get this controller, and it's like a spaceship, and you don't even know what it does? That's me. I don't know how to play a video game. I'm not interested in video games at all. I'm not even interested in it. And I have this friend. We will go out and he will tell me about video games for like 90 minutes. And I'm so interested because that's his passion. When someone's talking passion, you know what you say? Tell me more. It doesn't have to be your passion. Stop listening for what you want to be and experience and who you are, and honor and see the other. Their passions, their ideas, their goals, their concerns. That's how to win friends and influence people. You knew I was coming after the Dale Carnegie, didn't you? You knew I was going to drop it in there. I know you knew. I was going to give me some Dale Carnegie up in here. How to win friends and influence people. Let me summarize the whole book. Be interested in other people. It's like a 300-page book. 5 words describe it. Be interested in other people. That's how you win friends and influence people. Stop listening through the lens of only your interests and your passions, and open up to hearing and encouraging and listening. If you talk to me, if you and I go out, I'm like this. I'm just taking it in. Like, keep bringing it. Just shovel it all my way. Keep bringing it. And you're like, yeah, but Brendon, people shovel their stuff on me. I'm like, nope. The bad stuff goes right over here. The good stuff goes right in here. It's like, just keep bringing it. Like if you want to be a great friend, you elicit their passions. And I don't think people talk about their passions enough. And obviously I'm a personal development guy, so I have a high opinion about this. Oh my goodness. I think it's so important to be passionate. And to be passionate, you have to experience the world. To elicit other people's passion, you have to talk about what they've experienced in the world. Learn their stories. Listen to what interests them. You have to pull in the conversation, their passion, their interests, their ideas. I know I'm being repetitive here a little bit, but I think we really need a reset on this one. A real reset. Because if you think about your favorite friends to be around at the parties, they're passionate. It doesn't mean they're extroverted. It doesn't mean they're extemporaneous speakers. It just means whatever's going on with them. I have a friend who I can't even believe this guy. He's a friend and a mentor. He's like 58 years old. Every time he talks, he just looks at his shoes. And he's not loud. He's not clownish like me. He's just super internal and thoughtful, but everything he's so passionate about what he's saying. He just likes things. He's just passionate. He barely moves. He's just passionate. And you just hear it. His voice isn't passionate. He talks like this. Well, this is so important, I wanted to pep up a little bit, but he doesn't need to. His passion is there, and I connect with him on that. You all follow? Passion. Okay, last big thing that we know from neuroscience, and obviously, I would say everyone knows from life experience, is number 6 is physicality. Physicality. This is kind of related a little bit to adventure and risk, but physicality means you do something physical together. This is your workout buddies, right? Your workout friends. You go to the gym, you work out together, you go eat something healthy afterwards or go for a walk. This is your friends who you go on a walk with. This is your friends you do dance with. This is your friends that you ride the mountain bikes with. This is your friends who you just connect, and there's that caring and intimacy with, that they give you the hug when you're having the bad day. There's physical touch and there's physical activity as part of that relationship. right? And you know the difference. You see an old friend or a maintenance friend, it's like a fist bump, high five. And then you see an old friend, it's like, man, like a real friend, it's like a hug. You know, it's like real. It's like you're pulling that person in, you're so happy to see them. Like those hugs, right? That's real. There's a physicality to that friendship in some way or another. Often it's, for a lot of friends, it's just doing things together, being in the same space together. You know, I have one of my brothers, it's like our friendship grows every time we're just in physical proximity. For him, he likes to drive a car. So we get in a car and we go drive all around. And you would think we're best friends afterwards. That, for him, that's his thing. He's driving, we're together, close, talking. That means something to him. In my life, I don't like to be in cars. Anyone else? But in that friendship, let's get in the car. So you have to know that people are different in all these areas, and to connect with them deeper is to know their way. If you think of like the top 5 people in your life who you want to deepen relationships with, you need to ask, how do I introduce physicality here? I was coaching a CEO executive about 2 months ago, and he was complaining about this friendship at work that's falling apart. I was like, what have you guys ever done physically together? And he's like, what do you mean? I'm like, have you ever done a sport? Have you gone out? Have you ever done like anything together? He's like, oh yeah. Yeah, I guess the first year that we knew each other, we were golfing a lot. I'm like, when's the last time you went golfing? He's like, I haven't golfed with him in 3 years. I'm like, schedule it, Saturday, go golfing. He sends me a note Sunday morning. He's like, that was the best idea. He's like, we're back. And this was a critical relationship in his life. He just had to go do something with somebody, right? It wasn't novel. They'd golfed before. It was new because they hadn't done it in a while. It wasn't any of these other crazy things. They weren't creative expressing. They weren't contributing. There's no maybe big adventure or at least risk orientation there. He's not even that passionate about golf, but it was physical. They did something physical together. These 6 things, you don't have to do all of them. Like I just said, the way he repaired that relationship had nothing to do with the first 5 things I taught you. It was re-engage this person, go golf, right? Go do something that is physical again. He'd tried, and I know some of you guys say, no, Brendon, just tell him, just spend quality time together. He was already spending quality time. They were in meetings, he was trying to elicit things, they already talked about the fact, all that had been attempted. What hadn't on my little list here was physicality, so I just asked him. So these 6 things, each of them can deepen your relationships, and each of them can reignite your relationships. Each of them can be a roadmap to building great friendships. Each of them is a roadmap to repairing old friendships. Each of these 6 things we know spark your brain in a very different way and create different social bonding than almost anything else. Your brain loves novelty. Your brain loves creative expression. Your brain loves contribution. Your brain loves adventure. Your brain loves your passions, and your brain loves to move. Guess what? So does their brain. Now, when those 2 brains come together and do these things together, that dopamine forms the bond, forms the association, ignites the idea that we should be friends. So my hope today is by giving you this framework, you learn a little bit about yourself, you evaluate some things, you get some new ideas to bring a little more lightness or freshness into relationships. There's tons of things we could talk about in this topic that I didn't cover today. My job isn't to cover everything in friendships. My job is to kick it off, get your brain thinking about it, and let's make this month Friendship Month. Let's make this month the month that you reactivate some good friendships and the month that you build some new ones. Thank you again for this one, everybody. I appreciate each and every one of you. Every day is a great day to grow, and today we did that together. Thanks, everybody. Good night.